it's a delight that you are there wanting to share your 60 minutes with us. And for those of you who have been regular viewers of the program, you won't be disappointed today because the topic that we are going to discuss is of utmost importance to the democratic development of not only Edo State, but also of the country. We are looking at the relevance, the importance of voter education ahead of the conduct of the Edo 2024 governorship election scheduled for 21st of September. I must inform you that this election will be a watershed. This election will project landmark result that will be a referral to students of political science. It is an election that has a lot of trappings that will attract attention. Well, my name is Egosa Agbonlao. With me is a very, very renowned clergyman and also a renowned analyst who knows the goings-on in Edo State. Dr. Royal Ayimere. Nice to have you with us today.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
And he's also an educationist. I'll need to also include that. Yes, Dr. Royal, I've said a lot about the topic for today.
Yes.
So many people are salivating. They are earnestly waiting for the conduct of the Edo 2024 election. It's an off-cycle election.
Yeah.
But the candidates of the different political parties, they seem to be heavyweights, you know. But before I allow you to talk, let me just say this, that the relevance of today's topic is for the voters to know that they are king makers.
That's right.
Despite the caliber of the candidates we have for different political parties, which is of interest to us, because it's not like what used to happen, where you just have one party, you know, just taking, dominating the political scene. It's not like that this time. You have different candidates of different political parties who have made name, but it is the voters that are kingmakers.
That's
Dr.
right.
Royal. Yes, your opening remarks.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, when it comes to election, I like our politicians to know that it's no longer business as usual.
Okay, I agree with you.
Where somebody just feels, you know, because I'm from this party, I must win the election. The just concluded presidential election has already sent shockwaves. Not just to Edo State as a state, but to the nation at large. That we saw somebody that came out, all right, moved to the Labour Party, and before you know it, the nation was agog. You see, it was clear. Our politicians, they know that once the electorate, the voters, they make up their mind, nothing can stop them. And I want to assure the voter this time that this period is not a time to begin to look at party, look at individuals. We have voted party lines and it has failed us. It's time to look at the pedigree of the candidates. I'm not a fan of a political party this, political party that. Let's look at the people they are trained up. They have done their primary election, now we have candidates. We are going to look at the track record of these candidates. We are going to look at how sarcastic they are mentally. We are going to look at how healthy they are. We are going to look at how good they are. We're going to look at how compassionate they are. Because if you put a man, you elect a man who doesn't have compassion, who doesn't have empathy on the electorate, it doesn't matter what is happening, no matter what you cry, he will not listen to you. This time, Edo people, we must get it right. We are not just voting, we will vote the right candidates. Thank you. Thank
you very much. I told you that every one of us, we are very emotional regarding the Edo 2024 election. And you just heard Dr. Royal, that the voters, you must look well before you decide on the candidate that will enjoy your power. which is your PVC, your vote. Your vote counts. This is an election that every vote will count. INEC has assured us, we've seen what they have been doing. This time around, your vote will count. Now, before we continue, because the voters need to really understand where they stand in this election. Dr. Roya, before now, we've seen a situation where candidates will be going around sharing bag of salt,
yes,
sharing bags of rice,
yes,
sharing fabric, and the voters will be clapping.
They even
for salt. They even give money. They clap. But it appears things have changed. People are no longer looking at that. Do you think that should be what should actually be a decider this time? The voters should close their eyes to what these candidates have?
Thank you very much. Because I was coming to that.
Yes.
You see, anybody who wants to give you money, who wants to give you clothes, who wants to give you salt, so that you can vote for the person, just know that that person does not deserve your vote. Secondly, know that that person is not ready to develop the state. Because what we are looking at here is not what I will eat in one day. We are looking at the next generation. You know, somebody who has short-sightedness, he looks at the immediate. Somebody with vision looks at the ultimate. All right? The salt, the 10,000, the 20,000, the fabric may solve the immediate need, but not the ultimate need. And as such, we must see beyond that. Because for me, a man who wants to work, why share money? Share your ideas. Sell your vision. That should be what you are campaigning with. I want to do XYZ. This is how I will generate the money. In first year, expect this from me. Year 2, expect that from me. This is how my administration is going to run. Voters don't fall for that trap. That has been what has been going on. You know, but I think with the Peter Obi saga, that money wasn't shared, because say when you push a goat, you drive a goat to the wall. The goat will reverse back and want to fight it way back. But you see, let's not fall for that money trap. It has never helped and it will never help. And anybody who comes like that, the best counsel will tell you, if somebody is giving you money and say, vote for me, collect the money. It's the money they stole. That they are supposed to use to work, collect it and vote for the right person. Thank you.
I was just coming to that because you just hit the nail on the head now. Because the voters will just be watching you and say, Doctor, why voters collect some of these items? It's not that they are not aware that it is wrong. They know it's against the electoral rule. They know it is wrong. But they have this thinking within them that, oh, this is what I can benefit from these candidates. Yes. We know that after this election, we will not see them again. But you have just said that, and you need to elaborate. The voters need to understand that when you are thinking about an election, you should think of the future.
Yeah.
Don't think about the immediate, like you have said. You benefit now. That's what we call cash inducement. You benefit now, cash. You benefit food items. We know that things are very expensive now. And some persons, if they are not careful, they might really fall for that. But you must think of the future.
Yeah.
Like my guest has said, has it really helped? Voters have been accused of being involved in collecting cash, food items, and all of that. But look at where the country is now. Look at where we are. So Edo State election is an off-cycle election, which definitely will open the eyes of Nigerians. Because Edo State is the heartbeat of the nation. Whatever you do here seems to reverberate around the country. Because after the Edo election, we will be having the Ondo State governorship election. So the residents of Ondo, the voters of the neighboring Ondo, they are waiting and they are watching what is going to take place in terms of the conduct of the election, in terms of the conduct of INEC officials, the umpire, and of course the conduct of the voters, and finally the outcome of the election. So the voters in Edo must not get it wrong.
That's right.
Yes, you are the guest here. You are the one that will really have to convince them that yes, it used to happen, but this is the reason why they must not fall for it, like you said.
Yes. I'm a student of history.
Okay.
when it comes to election in Edo State, I think the only election I didn't vote was 1999.
Okay.
As at 2003.
Yes.
I'll be voting to date. And we have seen the trends.
Okay.
After the Lucky Benedians
election, okay.
The Edo people took a stand and said that we need somebody who will take Edo State out of the woods. We want to make Edo State the pride of the nation. And he stood. That was the coming in of Comrade Adams Oshomole. So Edo electorate have been making statements. And no, politicians should not take Edo State electorate for granted. After Oshomole, all right, we saw the coming in of Obaseki. You saw what happened during the second tenure.
Yes, it was very difficult.
Exactly. The electorate made a statement. Edo is known for that. That we make statements.
We heard things like Edo, not be Lagos.
Exactly, sir. And after that time, there was this slogan of Togba. It was everywhere because Edo State is one state that one person will not come from nowhere and say, this is the direction we are going. The electorate will know what is going on. We know who to vote for. At this time, I want to speak to our political leaders. If they feel that, oh, it's going to be BHB, they should learn from what I just said now, that Edo electorate, you see, the wave is everywhere. But I'm very sure it will dawn on them a few days to the election. Because it is, they said, the trap you are setting for your, let me use the word enemy. You do not allow the enemy to know, because if he knows, it's no longer a trap. You know, there are strategies going on. People are working on the ground. People are discussing. I live with the grassroots people. I know what, I know the yearnings of the people. For me, this election will be a shocker. It will be. Because we are ready to vote. And when you finish voting, when I finish voting, I wait.
You want to see the outcome.
Edo electorate, don't let anybody deceive you that vote doesn't count. It does.
It does count. Because you just mentioned that of Mr. Godwin Obaseki.
Yes.
The second term, the election that brought in Mr. Godwin Obaseki is actually a landmark election.
Seriously.
Where we saw the power of the voters.
Yes, sir. Like
you have just said, the legitimacy of the administration of Mr. Godwin Obaseki is not in doubt, because it is an offshoot. It is a product of the people.
That's right.
We saw all that happened. How he moved from one party to another, how they said he cannot contest in one party. But it was no longer about Mr. Godwin Obaseki in that election. It was about the voters.
That's right.
The voters made up their mind, like you said, different corners, the nooks and crannies of Edo State, discussions were on, and many people agreed, oh, this man, we will vote and see whether our vote will bring Mr. Godwin Obaseki to power. And they voted, and he won.
And he won.
So there's also rumor now that, oh, this will happen, oh, this will happen. The voters must know that they are kingmakers. It is very important that we base our discussion on that premise. The voters are kingmakers. Do not underestimate yourself.
That's right.
Because the politicians are very smart. And they know that some persons can be easily swayed. But my guest has just posited that the voters must recognize that the ills and the errors of the past must not be allowed to resurface on the 21st of September 2024, which is the date scheduled for the conduct of the Edo State governorship election. Wherever you are, as a voter, please do understand that your vote is your power. Do not sell it. Do not sell it. And do your own research. That is part of the essence of this program. We allow you the opportunity to listen to very, very enlightened people who also have influence in the society, who moves with the people, who some are leaders. So they bring information which is of pivotal importance to you. So you need to understand that your vote surely is your power, your vote will count, and this election, because it's an obstacle election, it's an election that is going on simultaneously in the country.
That's right.
People are going to focus on Edo election.
That's right.
Security agents will be on the ground to ensure the safety of lives and property. So, you must be free to ensure that you participate in a free, fair EDO 2024 election. Dr. Roya, yes, the voters, they really have the power.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think government should do to continue to convince the voters that in a democracy, it is the voters that counts? Yes.
Yes. Thank you for that
Okay.
timely question.
Yes.
You know, it's unfortunate that we live in a society that, let me use the word in quotes, that our political leaders do not understand what democracy is actually about. Democracy is a government where the people select or choose certain individuals at different strata or different levels to represent them in government. But as it is today, these persons do not see it like we were choosing to represent people. They see it like it is my turn, it is my time, it is my season. After this, I don't know what may happen next. Government exists for a lot of reasons. The number one reason government exists is for the protection, the welfare of its citizens. When a government cares for the people, he protects. That's where security comes in. He provides, he creates the enabling environment for business to thrive. I have canvassed here several times that Nigerians were not asking for too much. It's unfortunate that when you live in Nigeria, it looks as if God made mistake of sending you to Nigeria. For crying out loud, God didn't make mistake. Yeah. Because in Nigeria, what I have found out is that citizens do everything all for themselves, all by themselves. You buy your land yourself. You develop it yourself. You sink your borehole yourself. You buy your car yourself. You buy petrol yourself. You now, individuals...
There's a new one now. You get solar yourself.
I was coming to that. You get solar yourself. So what is government now doing? We're not asking for too much. Give us good roads. Make our educational sector work. Make our health sector work. Above all, give us power. If there is light, I'm telling you, yes, nobody will send government in this nation. If there is light, the weather can just buy his machine and start getting contracts. The fashion designer, yes, doesn't need extra money to get gen. What will it take to fix our power issue? You see, government come, government go, you hear talk. In fact, Fashola said, a responsible government, I'm quoting him verbatim, he said a responsible government, it will not take the government 6 months to fix power issue. Fortunately for him, he became the minister of power.
I was just coming to that. So
you see, I couldn't do it. Government, the reason why people are losing interest in election matters now is because government is not performing. Government is underperforming. Expectations are high. Look at the Buhari regime. When Buhari came on board, look at the way people were dropping money at that initial stage. Oh, this man has come in, we fight corruption. Not knowing that. It was the more you look, the less you see. Look at where we are now as a nation. If Tinubu leave office tomorrow, we don't know what they are covering now. That it will become worse. When Buhari left, Tinubu came in. Look at where we are. Government has not lived up to our expectation. But for us, we keep faith, we keep hope. Citizens, shine your eyes. Don't follow people who will tell you what they want to do. Let them also tell you how they will achieve it. Very, very important. I've been speaking with people on my own end. Anybody who tell you, I will do this, I will do that, I will do the other one. Tell them, how do you plan to get the money? Few days back, I heard about the debt profile of Edo State. I was shocked. Seriously, I was shocked. I said, what? If such money was spent on Edo State will look like mini Dubai. You see, there's a problem. There is, even these ones coming out, hey, want to be this, want to be this. They should know what is on ground though. Governance is not child's play. Edo people, shine your eye. Let's vote right this time. I keep conversing. Let's vote right. Leave party alone. Leave this one does not understand politics alone. Let it be somebody that can deliver us now. We need deliverer, not a politician. We need a deliverer, not a politician.
Okay, Dr. Roya has just used the language that he knows how to use best. He's talking about the deliverer. Well, the question is, how do we know the deliverer? Well, I believe that it will give us more information on that. So because it's part of voter education, the voters will really want to know who the deliverer is, or the deliverer that they should vote for. But I believe that the underpinning of the comments of my guests is just to let the voters know that there is need for them to do their personal research. They need to understand the candidates of the various political parties. Dr. Roya just mentioned the fact that this time around, it may not be all about political parties.
That's right.
We're going to discuss that elaborately after the break. But he has said that it is about the individual. It is about the person that is being presented by the party as a candidate. Might be a woman, might be a man. But you have to look at the antecedents. What has this woman done? What has this man done in the past? There are some persons who are contesting. Probably at a point in their lives, they were once into politics. Maybe they were at the local government level as councillor or as chairman, or maybe they had a position. It may not even be in government.
Yes.
It might be other structures of the society that they've contributed before. You need to know about what they've done. The antecedents definitely will convince you that if this man was able to do well in a community, if this man was able to do well as a councillor, if this man was able to do well where he worked in a company, maybe as a manager, maybe as a head of an organization, no, there must be something to tender. You don't just come, nobody comes from the moon and just say, I want to be governor. It's not like that. Governor is not for everybody.
Elena.
It's not for Elena. You must be tested and trusted. Even if you are overseas, we want to know, because the diasporal influence on our elections cannot be overemphasized as well. As we speak to you, the diaspora influence is massive. They also hold meetings abroad, Nigerians. Residents of Edo State who live overseas, they also hold meetings. They are also affiliates of political parties.
That's right.
That's to tell you. So even if you come from overseas and say you want to contest, you are very free as a Nigerian, as somebody from Edo State. But we need to know why you were overseas. Were you peddling drugs? What were you doing? Or what have you been doing? We need to know. So it is very, very important. My guest is in the studio, Dr. Roya Ayimere. We will be discussing further about the importance of voter education ahead of EDO 2024. But that will be after this break. Well, welcome back. It is 60 Minutes Nigeria. The former governor of Kogi State has written to the court that he wants to be tried in Kogi. He doesn't want to be tried outside Kogi State. The question you will ask Yaya Bello is, are you to tell the court where to try you? That is $1 million question. And that's the reason why we are discussing the topic today, voter education. The voters need to understand that once you make, I'm not saying Yaya Bello has committed any offense, because until the court's verdict is heard, you cannot say he's guilty. Do not misunderstand me. But the issue is this. As a voter, as we prepare for EDO 2024 governorship election, you make a mistake and voting somebody that is not credible. He will hold on to power, he can abuse power, and there's nothing you can do until 4 years. Doctor, that's the problem. That's why the voters need to understand that they play a vital role in any election.
Yes.
You make a mistake, you suffer for it.
That's it. As it is, the decisions we make today,
yes,
we live with it. And one thing about life, the way God designed life, is that the decision is yours to take. The consequences is not yours to determine. The consequences are always there. That God designed life. He says, choose between life and death. I have given you. You see, that's why I have problems. People say, with all the prayers we have been praying as a nation, how come the nation is not changing? INEC doesn't count prayer points. They count ballot papers. And I want to say that if you think that praying without voting the right person will change this nation, you are a joker. I'm a pastor. So let me speak from that light. Yes, the praying side creates the right environment, but we must begin to act as a nation. Nigeria, we believe more in talking without action. And it is not talking that gets the job done. It is until we begin to act. I just said now. You see, before the election, you may say, oh, we need to pray. We need to pray so that God will give us. God has already given us the power to decide who will lead us. It is now our duty to look at these persons. Who are their parents? How did they live? Who are their brothers? What are their friends saying about them? What are the people who do business with them saying about them? I have had a situation whereby I met somebody who works with the House of Assembly in Edo State. Yes. And we were discussing. And they told me certain things about some persons. I was like, God, may these people never come out to be candidates. You see, people tend to pretend to be who they are not. Let's look beyond the clothes. Let's look beyond their speeches. Let's look beyond their promise. Let's look at their character. How do they treat their gate men? How do they treat their household? How do they treat their drivers? How do they treat the people living in the society? There are some persons now who may want to contest as governor. Even their family members are saying, we will not vote them because of the character of the person. I want to urge the Edo people. This election, I'll keep saying it. We must get it right. We are not voting party. We are voting integrity. We are voting track record. We are voting mental prowess. We are voting the fear of God. We are voting somebody with empathy and compassion. See, somebody who will not use our money to buy a house in Lagos, who will use the money of Edo State to buy a house abroad, somebody who will use Edo State money for Edo State people. That is the person we are going to vote for. Don't follow the person who will give you money. I want to beg us. Look at where Nigeria is today. You can't travel from Benin to Abuja with your eyes closed. If you try it, you'll be praying, Lord, I will arrive safely. You will see pleading the blood of Jesus along the road. These are prayer points that are uncalled for if government is working. You see, if for me, I want to travel today, I don't use the road. I use flight because it's more expensive, but it's safer. You see, so that is it.
But sometimes there are flight disruptions. It's not because very many people want to use flight now.
It's not even everybody that can afford that.
No, not everybody.
You see, that is what we're saying. For me, there are people that have the solution to this nation, to the problem of this nation. Government should reach out to these persons. I deviated, but government should reach out for me. There are people who can counsel government. They will do the right thing. It's not too much to build roads. I want to beg Edo people. The decision we make today is what we are going to live with in the next 4 years. If you want to cry the next 4 years, the one we are crying now, if another tears enter this one, I don't know, you get us a go back.
Well, that's Dr. Roya for you. He has just told you in the local palace, don't allow another cry to join this one. No. I hope you understand the import of what he has said, because the election determines political leaders and public office holders. Now, if you do not vote for the right candidate, you've made a terrible mistake. And it's a mistake that you cannot correct again, because once the person has been inaugurated as governor, if he's a good governor, everybody will celebrate. But if you have voted in a very wrong person, then it means you will suffer the consequences, just like my guest has said. That is the reason why you must look well before you vote. Well, we'll take another break now to enable me introduce my second guest, who was a former chairman of the National Youth Council of Nigeria, Edo State Chapter, Comrade Osaon Obasuyi. He will be joining us immediately after this break. Okay, it's a delight to have you back on the program, 60 Minutes Nigeria. I must thank our viewer spending their 60 minutes with us, or those just joining us on the program. Also joining us is our guest, Comrade Obasui. I just introduced him, the former chairman of National Youth Council of Nigeria, EDO State Chapter. Nice to have you with us today.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we'll just allow you to make your comments because we are looking at the issue of voter education, and we've established in our discussion that the voters are kingmakers, and the voters must understand that this time around, their vote will count, and they must vote right. What's your take?
Thank you so much, Mr. Agosa.
Okay.
Good afternoon, viewers. The era when people think that votes don't count has passed. This time around, every vote will count. Every vote, every one vote will count. That is the truth about it. And voter education is very key to electoral process. It is important to have, that is why in the first place, INEC have a department of voter education. So it is important to educate the voters, especially in a society like ours, where the percentage of the enlightened persons is, very low. So it is important to educate the voters so that they will know what to do, especially that with this new delineation of polling units, INEC haven't created some polling units, now moving some persons from one particular unit to another. So these persons, these prospective voters need to know, where exactly they should vote. So if you don't educate them, then it becomes difficult for them to understand and then to know where they should vote. Because just running to the polling unit on that morning, get it where they think, supposed, to be their polling unit, they get there and their name is not there. Moving to the next unit on that particular day becomes a problem. So it is important to educate voters. They should be able to know where they will go to on the day of voting and vote. Like I saw a local government did with, they had volunteers, who were educating people on, their polling unit, where they should go to, how they should vote and all that. It's even an opportunity when you talk about voter education for political parties to even canvass for vote. Because while you are educating the people on how to vote, and you are canvassing for vote, you use the same opportunity to tell them to vote, your party. Like during the CROV, when a lot of political parties, they were out there with jingles and, so many persons out there telling the society, letting the people know that the CROV is ongoing. You need to go and register to be able to vote. At the end of the jingle, you hear them say, vote party this, this, and that. So it's a way, it's an avenue of also canvassing for vote. Just like some parties are doing now. We know the parties that are ready for election. Not all the parties are ready for election. Some are waiting for the power, Abudu Sheka, Santoria, to be able to win election. Those are, it does not count these days.
Yes.
You must talk to the prospective voters. You must educate them. You must tell them what to do at, at every particular time, so that at the end of the day, they go to the polling unit, cast their vote, and every vote will count. Abudu Sheka will not work. Santoria will not work this time around.
It has never worked.
Okay, before I allow you to just conclude on what you have said, now there's also this problem of voter, because my guest, Dr. Roy, has made his comments on that, where voters think that, in every election year, it's an opportunity for them to get what they can get from the candidates. Is this advisable?
Well, that is why we have had government coming into place, and at the end of the day, that particular government will not do anything for the people in terms of democracy advancement, in terms of infrastructural development, in terms of reaching out, to the people by way of dividends of democracy, because they believe that, they have paid the price. Like some persons in the past will say that I bought my way in, not that the people actually voted for me. So at the end of the day, when they succeed in giving out and then you take, at the end of the day, the person may just conclude, I bought my way in here. So don't expect any good thing to come from me. Or where I got the money to buy the vote, I have to also recoup to be able to, to pay back. So we will advise people, not to engage in such activities. Although some school of thought will say that it's our money, which to a very large extent it is true, because the persons that are running now, very many of them has been in government in the past, so they have had opportunity to also siphon. So all those monies that they siphoned, the people are also waiting, to get them back. I think our message should be, whether you collect money or not, vote your conscience. Vote your conscience. You should be able to know this person from their pedigree. From their pedigree, you should be able to know the persons, that are ready to work for the people. You should be able to know the particular party that is ready to serve the will of the people, not the will of their pocket, So our advice should be, vote your conscience.
Okay, thank you very much, Comrade Osahon Obasui. Dr. Roya, as a way forward, you have really elaborated on a number of issues. But the conduct of election, that is the day of election. You talked about the need to not just vote and go away.
Yes.
Yes. So you want to enlighten the voter more on that. You are not saying they have to fight, but they need to monitor the way the votes are being counted or moved from one place to another. I think that is what you're talking about.
Yes. You see, we've, we have conquered the devils.
Okay.
At the polling units.
Yes.
What we need to conquer now is the devils at the collation center, because that is where the real game takes place. And you and me as a person,
yes,
I can't go there, because the politicians, they have their representative who goes there at that collation center. Their representative who represent to monitor the event. Like, I want to align with what he said, that people rely on certain powers, that because of this and that, we will win an election. It is not powers that win election, it is the people who decides it. I said that here before. It is the people. Once the people are ready, no force comes. Even God said in Genesis 11, he said, these people, what they are doing is against my will. But if nothing stops them, nothing will stop them. If we don't change their language, what they are doing was not in line with what God said. But even God said we can't stop them. If they are determined to get this thing done, they will do it. God has to give them different language. That means that when the people make up their mind, the job will be done. Electoral, when you finish voting, don't go, just stay clear. Be observing what is happening. Let them count the vote. As they are counting, we still know how to get the record, the figures. All right? That's what I do. When I finish voting, I don't leave. I wait. I monitor the process. Once it's done, they call the result. Then I write. I move. Sometimes I still call my friends. How did it go this way? How did it go that way? But where we are really hoping that things will be done properly is that collation center. That devil there, we must get it right this time. We must remove that devil.
Thank you. Now, moving forward, on that day of election, what's your advice to our voters? How should they conduct themselves? What should determine who to vote for?
Well, there are rules governing, the voting process.
Yes.
I will advise that everybody should walk in line, with the laid down rules as we have it in the Electoral Act.
Yes.
It is important that you know what you are supposed to do. But at the end of voting, it's not advisable to leave the polling unit.
Okay.
It's not advisable. You must know what transpired. You must get the result of your polling unit. And then as you go with your result, other persons will equally come, with their result. Even at different fora, when you have opportunity to discuss, you should be able to say, this is what happened, at my polling unit. This is the result. The other person comes with his or her result. The next person comes. So with that, you should be able to know, get a feel, of what is happening around you, maybe in your ward, in your local government, and then your senatorial district before you move on to the state. So it is very important that you follow up the process. Don't just go vote and run away. No, we have canvassed, you know, the need for us to monitor our vote, the need for us to know, you know, what is happening to our vote, why sometimes it does not count, you know. This time around, we must make our vote count. It is very, very important that the party that has worked should be able to win election, not the party that is waiting for Abu Sheka to come from somewhere or Santoria to come from somewhere to, you know, to win election. As we speak today, if you go to the various campaign offices, you will know the parties that are ready for election. Some are not ready at all. You go to a place where they say they are preparing, you know, to win election and then prepare for governors. You see the place is not, it's not organized. Yes. So how do you expect such person at the end of the day, even if the person wins election, to be able to govern the people? That's it. You know, so it's in the obvious. The people can, the blind, I would say the blind can see. They can you know, the deaf can hear. You know, yes. The persons that are also waiting for Abu Sheka, we know them. It's just that we may not be able to mention on air because we are on national TV. Yes. But the people know where exactly they are going to. They know exactly the persons that are ready, you know, to serve the interest of the people, not the interest of individuals' pocket. The people know. The society know. Indigenous are ready. Residents are ready.
Yeah. What should be the criteria for voting? Because Dr. Roya, before you joined us, has talked about a number of factors to be considered. I want you to also tell the people, what should these voters look out for in these candidates before saying, I'll vote for candidate A or I'll vote for candidate B?
We are all Nigerians, and we are all from Edo State. When I say from Edo State, we are indigenous, some are residents.
Yes.
Haven't stayed in a particular place for a good number of years. You should be able to know the pedigree of the persons, you know, that are running for elections. We should look at their pedigrees. What have these persons done in the past? Which organization has this person had in the past that succeeded? You know, you should be able to look at the capacity of a candidate. Look at how competent that person is. And look at if the candidate have capacity. It's not just to come from the middle of, flying from the middle of nowhere and you want to be governor of a state. At the end of the day, you are not able to govern the state. So we must look at competence, we must look at the capacity of the individual, and we must look at the person's character. Character is very important, you know, in all this. So these 3 C's must be well talked at, must be looked at. We must examine them very well. We must look at the individuals, not party. We are not even talking about party now, but we must look at the individuals very well. What are these persons capable of doing? What's their pedigree? Which organization has this person led in the past? Did the organization succeed? Okay. You know, you look at those things. This person is in a particular position now. Is the person working? If it's not, then you should know that that is not the person you should go for. Okay. Look at the persons that have succeeded in the past, and then
just that time is not our friend. If not, I would have said, Dr. Roya, from what he has said now, do we look at the English of the person, or we look at the performance of the person? You know.
You want to take us to another end? Yeah. I was discussing with a friend. Yeah. And he said to me, he said, "Not be English, we go chop."
Okay.
And I said to him, it's part of it, because governance is for somebody who has mental sagacity. You must be mentally rich,
fit
to govern a state well. Any person will tell you that. Mental capacity. In fact, that is where it begins from. If the governor will perform mentally, he must be rich. He must be able to develop ideas. He must be able to think out of the box. Because where we are now, like I told you, we don't need a governor. We need a deliverer. That's what the era we are in.
Thank you very much. That's the program. And I hope every one of you who joined us today, our viewer, I hope you've enjoyed this week's edition of the program, 60 Minutes Nigeria. It's been very interesting. You'll agree with me. My guests have been able to actually enlighten the voters And they've just mentioned another area now that the mental ability of the candidate should also be considered, because there are certain times that the governor needs to sit alone and think out of the box to fix the economy, to fix the challenges confronting governance. So a lot goes into it. I want to thank Dr. Roya Imeri. Thank you very much.
Thank you for
your time. I also want to thank the former chairman of the National Youth Council of Nigeria, Edo State Chapter, Comrade Osamu Obasu. You are still very, very active.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being a part of the show. My name is Erosa Agbonlaho. Do have a wonderful, wonderful week ahead. Bye-bye.